All right, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another episode of CAIR-Oklahoma Community Conversations. Very excited to have you all with us tonight. We were supposed to have our dear friend, our Imam, our Oklahomie, if you will, Imam Sohaib Webb with us tonight. But unfortunately, he had something come up last minute. So we're going to get him on, inshallah, sometime soon this week. He's promised me we'll be on live for another community conversation. But for tonight, we didn't want to leave you all without a community conversation. So we've got some special guests. We've got, of course, our sister, Deborah Boneta from the Sarai Ann Foundation, Mercy Food Pantry, also a past recipient of Oklahoma Muslim of the Year. And you remember this, Sister Deb, when and I call her Sister Deb. That's for me, not for you. You'll remember this when anytime I give the award for the Muslim of the Year, we do it at the CAIR-Oklahoma banquet, and we're gonna do it, for 2020, inshallah, once we're able to reschedule that banquet. Oh, who's on? We got Imam Imad on.
Woohoo!
Mashallah, you're sideways.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn.
There you go. Oh, there we go. Imam Imad invaded the community conversation. I mean, you got the president to tell people to wear niqab. What else do you want?
Hey.
So, mashallah, mashallah. So we're supposed to have Imam Sohaib on. Unfortunately, last minute conflict. So we will get him on this week. He has promised me that. Alhamdulillah. One second. That was Imam Sohaib on the line. Sorry, I had to pause for a second. He promised me tomorrow night, inshallah, he will join us, same time, Facebook Live. So look out for that. But for tonight, we have our amazing and talented Oklahoma Muslim crew. And I was introducing Sister Deb. And we gave her the Muslim of the Year recognition a few years ago. And one of the things I tell everyone when we give them the Muslim of the Year award, I say, this is not the end, this is the beginning. And Sister Deb, she took that to heart because she's working harder now than she ever has before. I feel like we need to give her another award, but we're running out of awards.
We're good.
We're good. Okay, alhamdulillah. So, Sister Deb, before we got some questions for the Imam that have really been on my mind, but before we do that, tell us, what have you been up to? Because while a lot of us are stuck at home, we're working from home, we're either lucky to have more time with family, or in some cases, we're struggling with that, what have you been up to? Because you have not had the blessing of working remotely from home. You're actually out there on the front lines, just like the medical workers, just like others, ensuring that people here in Oklahoma have the things that they need. So tell us what you got going on right now.
Well, so with Sarai Ann Foundation, been there for 5 years now. We started our initiative very early on in this with our COVID-19 funds, where we were raising funds and are still raising funds, if anybody would like to donate, to pay the bills for people that are affected at 45% or greater. And, we, in the beginning, when we started this, we didn't think we'd have a whole lot of people, and who knew it was going to be 3/4 of the state. So we have been doing intakes for the utility assistance, for rental assistance, and it's not paying anybody's mortgage or rent in full. It's to give them a little bit of ease so you don't get that giant bill, at the end. And then we've been working in conjunction with the Mercy Food Pantry, under ISGFC, and we're passing out diapers and things that go with it. Obviously, if your funds are low and you can't afford groceries, diapers and diaper wipes are a big issue. And so we have started the food pantry. So the food pantry, if you're 65 and older, we have a Silver Sneakers Day, which is Tuesday. Wow. It's like no contact. So you pull up, we see you're over 65, you put your basket in your car and you're on your way. And then Thursdays and Sundays are our days that we serve the general public. And we're seeing people that wouldn't normally come to a food bank. So we've seen a great increase in the number of those, and have great volunteers that are coming out. You know, we've had to change that a little. So smaller groups of people every single day so we can get, you know, the boxes made. They're pre-made boxes, so it's no client choice right now. And it's a lot of work, but, you know, there's a lot of great people helping.
MashaAllah, that's beautiful. And you know, you had mentioned to me the other day that there's a bigger burden on Mercy Food Pantry right now. You are already serving a lot of clients at Mercy Food Pantry, and I know the Regional Food Bank has mentioned that to me before because we do some community work with them. You're already serving so many clients, but a lot of the food pantries around you are not operational right now. So you actually have seen an increased need from just our fellow Oklahomans. We're talking about people of all faiths, all backgrounds, all ethnicities. The misnomer, I think, sometimes is that it's a Muslim food pantry. Well, maybe there are Muslims who volunteer there. Maybe it's funded majority by Muslims, but the people you serve actually are not Muslim, correct?
So 95% of the people we serve at the food bank are not Muslim. So, you know, that's a big blessing. You know, we're Oklahomans, we're humans, you know, and Oklahomans have the ability to dig deep, even deeper when things happen. And so you know, we see this extra push, you know, for people to donate, and extra groups that come through. Target on 50th and May, Trader Joe's, Regional Food Bank, Feeding America, the India Association of Oklahoma. All of these groups have really come together to offer a little extra assistance for those families. From a week ago to today, it's been 1,500 boxes.
Wow, that's just amazing. That's beautiful. I don't really know what to say. God bless you. Allah bless you. I mean, Allah protect you and your family. I mean, you're doing the work that not only people are not able to do. I don't think a lot of people can do that. You know, putting yourself in a position to really help people in a time like this is not easy. It takes a lot of courage. So I really look up to you for that, and we appreciate everything you're doing. And I know you're not going to say it, so I will say it. But if people want to donate, how can they do that? Because I know Mercy Food Pantry could use whatever donations. Sarayan can use donations because you're actually helping the people that need the help. So tell people how they can support Sarayan and the Mercy Food Pantry.
So for Sarayan Foundation, you can go to our website, or you can email us at safokc@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you and help you with donating either online, by credit card, however you feel comfortable donating. And for Mercy Pantry, you can go to IOC's website, and there's a donate button there. You can click on that and let them know that you want it to go to the food bank. For people that would like to bring items, so we're seeing that there are bigger families that are needing assistance, spaghetti sauce, rice, beans, things that can be made in bulk for families. You know, a big pot of spaghetti and some garlic bread will go a long way. And so we want people to know that we're also giving, and we're not just giving them a bag of beans and rice or a jar of spaghetti sauce and pasta, but they get meat and eggs and milk and fresh fruits and vegetables. You know, a lot of times, one of the pantry people today said it was stuff that she couldn't even afford to buy for herself on a regular day.
Wow.
And so being able to help those, you know, with those items is great. Dropping off diaper wipes. And I want the people to know, you know, we've had a lot of feedback of people saying, you know, they want us to be careful. So, you know, the food is put in an area where the client can get to it. So there's no contact with them. You know, for the diapers, the same way. They request their diapers. We put it on a table. They're able to get that. Don't bring your children. You know, we don't want the little people to be sick. You know, we wash hands and change gloves every hour. Everybody wears masks. So we're taking all the wonderful precautions. You know, as Muslims, we trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Tyre Camel, you know, Imad Enchassi is a great spiritual leader and has taught so well to walk this faith out.
MashaAllah. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, speaking of Imam Enchassi, we got him here tonight. And you know, Imam, it's been on my mind all day. I've actually been thinking about it. So I'm glad you're here to help me with this concern of mine. Ramadan is coming. Ramadan is right around the corner. And it looks like, most probably, Masajid will not be open for Ramadan, the way things are going. I mean, we could be wrong, and Allah knows best. But that being said, we still have to get in the Ramadan spirit. You know, we still have to take advantage of this month, because Ramadan is not about the mosque. It's not about being in a building, but rather it's about what goes on inside our heart. And I think in theory, we all understand that. But the question is, how can we prepare, and how can we take best advantage of Ramadan when we're in a circumstance that none of us have ever experienced before? We're not going to have the communal time with the iftars. We're not going to have the prayers in the masjid. We're not going to have the opportunity to break away from our home and come to a place where we can focus spiritually. So what can we do, practically speaking?
Well, before we can talk about Ramadan, I just a big jazakumullah khairan for Sister Deborah. With her almost every day, see her operation, and see that people are coming. Yes, we are one of the few food pantry that is open. 95% of our clients are not Muslim, where 95% of the money that comes to it is from Muslims. So it's I know it's a hard time. Everybody, all food pantries are closing, but we there was a decision that keeping up with the spirit of Islam, as the Prophet, peace be upon him, assured us. This is something I shared in the khutbah last week. Assured us that our insurance, our antibiotics against this coronavirus is to bring those people from the community who are disfranchised or poor and needy and help them out. That is in itself is a prayer. That is by itself is a mercy to the community. And I think as the Prophet said, إِنَّمَا تُرْزَقُونَ وَتُنْصَرُونَ, that your rizq, your provision and your victory comes from those. That's why Ahlul Sufa, the Prophet ﷺ, will bring the people who are poor around the masjid. And those are used to say, the Prophet ﷺ said, those are my people. Those are my people. So we thank Sister Deborah for exhibiting that spirit and teaching all of us what it is to be a good neighbor and a good Muslim. Absolutely. So Ramadan is coming, yes, and I know the communal meals. There's certain things we are preparing to as a masjid in order to stay with the spirit of Ramadan. So communal meals and Taraweeh were something that was legislated about 5 years after the death of the Prophet, peace be upon him. So before I go there, I just want the community to understand that perhaps this year, even when the masjid is closed, we have an opportunity to live the Ramadan that the Prophet ﷺ and the companions actually lived, which means Taraweeh were not in the masjid during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Taraweeh were not in the house. It was not in the masjid. It was not in jama'ah. It was not in congregation, but rather, and breaking fast was not at the masjid, but was people. It was something that was focused not only on the community level. It focused on the family level. So perhaps this Ramadan, we have an opportunity, the way it looks, at least the first few days of Ramadan, we have the opportunity to actually break fast with our family and to actually, sit down after we break fast with our family and conversate with them and talk to them about Islam. And perhaps we have the opportunity not to be rushing to the masjid, but rather take it easy and pray Taraweeh with our wives and children sitting down around us and taking and feeling that spirit of Ramadan, even prior to its legislation to be something that Taraweeh would be prayed in the masjid. So that's one thing. Another thing is, as a community, we still want to be in the spirit of charity. So the spirit of charity will continue from our Mercy Food Pantry, perhaps maybe even more. We used to have about 200, 250 people. We're looking at ways where we could actually still serve 200 meals per night where people could go to restaurants. So we're trying to get the Muslim restaurants actually to help us with that, and we help them with that to send them some business where people could pick up a prepackaged meal from those restaurants every single night. So we'll choose 3 or 4 Muslim businesses where Muslims could go with their cars and go through the drive-through window, or perhaps those people will bring the food to Mercy Mission Building and we hand it without human contact to them. So we're still gonna feel that. The charity part of Ramadan is also, the Muslim organizations are still here. Thuraya is here, CAIR is here, ISGOC is here, the poor and the needy is here, and so on and so forth. And the spirit of Ramadan, although the masjid, I have a feeling, and I don't want to sound like some people on TV, but I have a feeling that perhaps middle of Ramadan, or maybe the last 10 days of Ramadan, we'll be back in the masjid, inshallah ta'ala. But for right now, we're talking with the hafiz. I talked with the 2 hafiz. Perhaps we're going to do virtual Taraweeh, where you could listen to the Quran every single night being recited with 2-3 people in the masjid. And then you could, pray, the head of the household could pray as the Imam in his house. There'll still be a reminder every night and reflection on the Quran every single night. So, this is all something new to us, Adam. So I just did condolences on Zoom yesterday, and there's about 500 people there that came, and we recited Quran and we done things. So perhaps the focus this year could be on family, could be internally on ourselves. فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, anywhere you are, there is Allah, right? A very prominent verse in the Quran, when people were arguing, is the direction we pray is east or west, north or south, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, well, you pray towards Mecca, but anywhere you turn, there's Allah. So perhaps maybe the masajid are closed. The masjid is a building. Islam is a system. Charity is in the heart and the eyes and the minds of people. Spirituality is in the spirit. We could be inside the mosque, but our spirit is not submitting and surrendering to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we're not there. We're just there physically. And we could be, as we learned from the story of Joseph, we could be in the bottom of the well, betrayed by others, and our heart is connected to Allah, then we are with Allah.
SubhanAllah, beautiful, beautiful. I was listening to Councilman Bashir Jones, a good friend of ours, has visited us a couple of times here in Oklahoma, and he said something, Imam, I think you would love. He said, let us leave this isolation with elevation and not aggravation. I'm sure that's going to be the next khutbah topic for you, right?
That sounds like a rap thing, like something that Deborah would come up with. Put $1 in every day in the sadaqah. Maybe little, but you do it for the barakah. There you
go. Also, there is, we talk about being secluded in our houses, and most of us have a couple of rooms to move around in, but the Suratul Nur Foundation helps the people that are incarcerated. They are sending out additional Qurans and taking donations for dates to ensure that the people that are incarcerated are able to still have Ramadan and break their fast. And although they're not stuck in their cells at the moment, we know a time will come, and there are a couple of the facilities here in Oklahoma, in the state of Oklahoma, that have more than 200 Muslims, but they only have like 95 Qurans. And so the fear for some of them is that, if they are told they have to isolate and stay in their cell, that they don't even have their own Quran to read.
Wow.
So,
maybe Deborah, you need to tell, for the sake of our audience who are of different faith, that people in jail get dates. Those are the fruit from the palm tree, since this is Palm Sunday today. So the
Yes.
dates, we don't send dates to the inmates in jail. We
Oh,
send them dates that we eat, which is from the palm tree.
Dates that you can eat. It's fruit. It's fruit. We're not
Oh, wow. Wow.
sent to
Yes.
prison. Yeah, there's
No,
no.
Some of my Christian friends say, "What's the date?" You know, I said, "Do you celebrate Palm Sunday?" I said, "Yes." They said, "Yes." I said, "Well, that's the fruit that comes from the palm tree." So, we didn't know the palm tree have a fruit that comes from it. Because in Oklahoma, if you live in California, you probably know what a date is. But
yeah.
Not here.
No, actually, Sister Deb, you brought up a good point. You know, supporting people that are incarcerated to be able to, because you know, I used to work for the Oklahoma Department of Human Services, and we used to assist people who were released from prison. And one of the biggest challenges is reentry into society. And I think those that have a spiritual community that they can go to once they come out of prison, it is a huge step in the right direction. So I think that's incredibly important. And I urge everyone who's watching this, you know, you can get in touch with Sister Deb and maybe she can tell us how. But, you know, I mean, it doesn't cost much. The Qur'ans are $2 a piece. We buy whole boxes of them. Dates are not expensive. But seriously, think about the blessings you would get from helping somebody, you know, be able to stay on the right path and be able to spend their time while they're, you know, in prison to learn more about their faith. So that way, when they come out, they can actually be contributing members of society, because that's what Islam teaches us. Islam teaches us about giving back and doing the right thing. So how can people get involved? How can people support this beautiful effort?
We'll see if we can get a link down at the bottom for Surat al-Nur, and because that is important that they are connected. And you know, so I am kind of partial to IOC because that's where I go, and that's my Imam right there. But you know, Surat al-Nur mission is.
I like the way you move your head when you say that's my Imam.
Surat al-Nur's mission is to do just that, to get people connected, you know, the mentorship and the helping them feel connected. The recidivism rate, or the rate at which people return back to prison, is astronomical. And, you know, Islam, I'm learning more and more, is about giving life. And so we want to make sure that they are given a life that's good. You know, all of us have our issues. My grandmother used to lovingly say, some things will get you sent to jail and some things will get you to hell. So it's not for us to judge, you know. And once they come out, we assume they have served their time, they have learned their lessons. And now it's for us to welcome them into the community, to be able to give some assistance to them. So the dates and the Quran during Ramadan, and of course, you know, being a friend. You know, we know even a smile. So, you know, you see somebody at the masjid once it opens, see somebody at the masjid that, you know, you may not recognize, smile at them, encourage them. Being a person that was not born into Islam, you know, sometimes it's a little, you get a little anxious when you go to the masjid and it's full of all of these people that you know are practicing this faith, and you're this brand new person and you don't know what to do, and you feel alone, you feel isolated. And so, you know, we want to make sure that they don't have that feeling by assigning them a mentor, someone to sit with them in prayer, someone to kind of walk through the process. And so, you know, our community, alhamdulillah, our community has such wonderful organizations and programs. I'm so proud of our community here.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Yeah, we'll definitely.
Deborah and I are both badged by the state of Oklahoma, Department of Correction, and we both sit on the spiritual panel for the state of Oklahoma. So we're connected with the inmates inside. Sirat al-Nur, which is a beautiful name. Sirat, which means the path, and Nur means the light. So it is the path of illumination, the path of light. hopefully, it's a beautiful name for a beautiful organization and a beautiful mission.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll drop those links in the comments. We'll tag the page. This is right now live on the CAIR-Oklahoma Facebook page, so we'll drop those so people can go check that out. And I have to give a plug because this is something that my Imam put the other day, and I know he's not going to say it, so I'm going to have to say it. Here you go.
Yeah.
That is Imam Enchassi's book. He is a published author. Cloud Miles: A Remarkable Journey of Mercy, Peace, and Purpose. It's a beautiful book. I'm enjoying every minute of reading it. I'm not quite done because I have a couple of crazy kids that don't give me all the time to read, but that's a different story. And the reason this is important is because Imam put on his Facebook that proceeds from this will go to benefit Mercy Food Pantry. So go and buy this book, Nurturing Faith. I believe is the website. We'll drop the link also in the live video. But if you haven't got it yet, get it. If you got it, get another copy for a friend. This is unbelievable. And I mean, to have an Imam who's a published author, we are so grateful for that, Imam Enchassi, that you shared your story with us. And do you want to say something about the book? Because I know you haven't had a chance to really talk about it, but what led you to write this? Because I think that's important for the community to know.
It's a story of a young boy who grew up in Christian schools and was both loved, cared for by Christians, and also a young youth who face all horrible massacre perpetrated by those who claim to be Christians. And the story is trying to reconcile with the Jesus who loved me, clothed me, took care of me, and gave me sugar candy, and the Jesus that came and heard his name being invoked by those people who killed 1,800 people of my friends and colleagues, and in cold blood. The same boy who had a long distance relationship with Lady Liberty, and made it to the United States and start seeing things from a totally different perspective. It's a story of mercy, and the mercy has a lot of things to do with it, so you have just to read it. A story of hope and purpose, and I make no judgment. I just tell stories, different stories, and people can make their own judgment on that book. But the book was written with the aim and the purpose. I do have a hidden agenda. I don't know if you know that. I do have a hidden agenda and everything, and it's called peace. That's my hidden agenda. I think more than ever now, when we see this coronavirus not discriminating against Muslims, and I'm seeing Muslim doctors right now. I'm going to go ahead and say it. We have one Muslim doctor who's been infected with the coronavirus right here in Oklahoma City. I cannot say his name. However, he asked me to keep his name, away, and I make dua for him. We have nurses on the front lines. So this coronavirus is in 180 something countries. It's not discriminating against color, race, origin, gender. And, perhaps there's a hidden message from God, or an obvious message from God, that there's only one race, that's the human race. We deal with people in according of how they are, reacting with us. And at the best, you would see from that book that repelling hate with love, which is a very profound verse in the Quran, is what brings people on board. That very woman there, that's on the other side, by the name of Deborah, has been called Black and Muslim by one of the Mercy Pantry recipients, after they thought maybe Mercy Pantry was a Catholic pantry, and they saw Deborah being hijabi with a headscarf and Black, and the woman would go, a Black and Muslim, I'd rather starve, And, Deborah did not tell me the story. One of my students who was there serving told me that story. But yet Deborah, packed 4 bags and ran after the lady and I gave her the food. This is how you make friends. And that's, you see a lot of stories like this about repelling hate with love. and education and relationship in that book.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I highly encourage, like I said, if you haven't checked it out, do. And to me, I mean, it says a remarkable journey of mercy, peace, and purpose. But one thing that I get from the book is that, you know, through your life, Imam, it's about trying to find a way to spread love, you know. And I really think we need more of that these days. I mean, we've had a lot of hatred in this country in the last few years, and I think right now, you know, people are isolated, and I think one of the side effects of people being isolated and these stay-at-home orders is that hate crimes are down. Obviously, you know, Islamophobia is down, racism is down to a certain extent. I mean, it still exists in areas. You can't control social media, you can't control certain things, but it's kind of hard for people to hate on each other when they're not around each other. And I hope, I mean, it's a reality, and I hope that people can take this opportunity to find a way to overcome the prejudices and biases they have, and to realize that the only way forward, I mean, look, this virus is tearing the world apart, literally, and we've got to love each other and be there for one another. And that's been my purpose. Imam taught me that, my sister Deb taught me that, and that's what I try to do every day, is just use love as a weapon, if you will, for good, to try to bring people closer together, to try to overcome hate. So inshallah, those are my final words. And since we're kind of running over the half-hour mark, Sister Deb, before we give it back to Imam, do you have any final words you'd like to share with folks?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to CAIR. I mean, I think the linchpin that holds everything in this community together, you know, that pulls it all together, is most definitely CAIR. Adam, you know, I adore you and Imam Enchassi. You know, so supportive, and have really given me the lessons and the tools to be able to walk faith out. So I'm so grateful to you both for that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Imam, we give it to you for the final words. You're our spiritual leader. So what words of advice do you have for the audience moving forward?
Well, as we move forward as a community, we're gonna come out of this. I'm very sure 100% we're gonna come out of this. You know, the masjid is gonna open, but the answer is our hearts gonna be open. You know, I don't want to come out of this the same way I went into this. I hope that we come out of this more loving people, more caring people, more people of outreach. You know, we have experienced something that, you know, a virus that does not discriminate against the rich or the poor, the male or the female, as I said. And I hope when we come out of this, something would come out of us. And I hope that that thing that comes out of us is all the hatred, all the discrimination, all the racism, all the Islamophobia, all the xenophobia. And we come out of this to see each other as brothers and sisters, as God Almighty have intended for us to be.
MashaAllah. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Imam. And I know that Imam and Sister Deb feel the same way. So on behalf of all of us, we are honored to serve our community. We're honored to serve our Muslim community. We're honored to serve our fellow Oklahomans. And we thank each and every one of you watching and who will see this video for entrusting us to lead the community and to do what we can to serve you and to serve our state and our country. So may Allah protect each and every one of us. May Allah help us to come out of this isolation with elevation and not aggravation. And I know Imam's gonna take that. That's a khutbah coming up. That's gonna be the virtual Eid khutbah.
There you go.
Thank you so much for joining. Inshallah, I will let you know once we are able to get Imam Sohaib Web rescheduled. He promised me this week sometime, so that will be coming up. We'll post it on social media, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam. Yay!
We're done. Live stream is done. Imam jumped off quick. Like, he was like,
man, He was
He's
out
like,
of there.
my wife is making halal tamales. I gotta go.